Hello, everybody. This is Travis from Commanding Magic coming at you today with a brand new series. This series is called the Hedron Archive, and it is going to be our series here on the Commanding Magic channel where we conduct interviews with our friends, with other content creators. If anyone feels like they want to show some pity on us and come on the show, but it's more of a there's like no real magic news here, no spoilers, no gameplay, nothing like that. This is just the stories from the people that play the game. And for our very first episode, we will be interviewing Brandon of Commanding Magic. What is up, Brandon?
How's it going?
Yeah, great. This show is
Going pretty good.
This show is something that I think it was just a couple days ago. It might have been just yesterday. I was working,
Yeah, I got the text yesterday.
and I said, I want to interview people. That sounds like fun. I was thinking of questions in my mind, and then eventually I started typing them down just so I could remember them. And then it was a matter of, do we make this its own show, or do we just have it like a Commanding Magic episode? But I feel like this is like the golden opportunity for us to kind of branch out a little bit and just have kind of two separate things going, where if you want to like listen to stories and stuff from Magic players, you can listen to the Hedron Archive. And if you want gameplay and spoilers and news and things like that, Commanding Magic is your show.
Yep.
So essentially, I'm going to go down a list of questions, and Brandon is going to respond to them. He may elaborate on them as much as he likes, and it's going to be very, very casual. So I hope everyone enjoys. I'm really excited to give this a shot. Any thoughts before we dive right into it, Brandon?
I have a thought, but it's for another name for another series. But
Oh yeah, what's our third series going to be called?
obviously, the vlogging series called Plane Shift.
Ooh, plane
Obviously.
shift. Very good. Yeah, that'll be where the HasCon report from next year will go.
Not next year, 2 years. Remember?
Oh crap! Yeah, you're right, man. Come on.
I know.
All right.
Hey, I should be able to go by then.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can at least make some sort of a little bit of a vacation out of something like that at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna go into this now, starting with question number 1. Brandon, how did
Yes.
you get into Magic?
I got into Magic many, many, many moons ago. Many moons.
Around what
Years.
time?
Around the time, of course, I don't remember the year, but I remember the current set that was out was Dark Steel.
Dark Steel.
From
Okay.
there.
Man, I feel like that's arguably a really good and a really bad time to get into it, just because Affinity
right.
was running rampant like crazy.
Well, I had no idea what any of the crap I was doing was.
So how did you like start getting cards?
Well, first, this was back in the day when GameStop originally sold Magic cards.
Oh, just
I know
like
they sell them now.
a blister
But-
pack, kind of like how
Yeah,
like Walmart and
they
Target
would
does
sell,
it.
and this was back when you could buy like the booster deck. And
Oh, the tournament
that
pack?
had the-
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it would have a like the expert level and all this. This is way
Yeah.
back.
Back when they had that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I bought one of those, and then turns out a neighbor I had played too,
nice.
and he had a bunch of cards, and he eventually just gave me his collection. 'Cause
Wow.
he grew out of them because this is back when oh, you're too old to be playing games like that.
You got to be talking to girls and stuff.
Yeah, right.
So that kind of leads immediately into the next question, question number 2. In your early Magic the Gathering playing years, what sets were current? You already have said Darksteel, but so did you buy just kind of from the Mirrodin block, or did you expand any more, like and buy like maybe
I think
a block prior or something?
Odyssey was the next pack I ever bought, which I know is going back in time.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't know
the
that.
block before Mirrodin was the Onslaught block, I think, right? And then before that was Odyssey. I think
so.
I think
Yeah.
that's how that went.
But, so I had no idea what I was doing, but the car, at least I think it was Odyssey, because it was the set that first introduced Flashback,
Yeah,
and it
that was
has
Odyssey.
the the graveyard symbol next to the name for Flashback cards.
Oh yeah, I missed that. Because they don't do that anymore,
So-
do they?
Nope.
Man,
The things he used to have,
one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so question
But
number
as far as
3.
I know,
Go ahead.
that was like the most extent from buying packs I ever got. It wasn't until many years later
Yeah,
that I actually
I
bought more packs.
I know. I wonder if you were like myself at all, which I'll get into in more detail later. But where it was, we couldn't get cards the way we do now. You know,
No,
it was like every now and then, maybe like with my
this was,
allowance or something.
the early 2000s,
Yeah,
and I didn't have money.
yeah,
I was 12, 13 years old, whatever.
yeah. I get you.
The last thing on my mind was money, and hell, I think for Christmas and my birthday once I asked for Gundams back then.
All right. I remember they
I got
had
a
those.
couple kids.
I used to collect the Gundam toys,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of them. But as I recall, they were just terrible quality, like made
Yeah.
out of the worst plastic. But anyway, that's wild tangent. So, question number 3: what deck
hmm
or decks did you have in the early years?
So obviously, my first one I had was it was the deck that came from Darksteel, and it had Gemini Engine as its main rare in it.
Okay,
Still to this day, I love the card itself.
Gemini engine.
Yeah,
I'm sure what that card does.
it makes a token of itself
Oh,
at some point,
sure. Okay. I mean, yeah, back
and
then, I mean, I feel like during that block, I mean, that's when like sculpting steel came out too. So if you had like
yeah, and
a
then
copy,
he's
then your copy would make a
playing
copy or whatever.
playing mono red with affinity for mountains and
Shrapnel
going.
Blast, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a card that is.
So the Oxidia Golem is a card I remember very
Like
fondly because it had affinity for
affinity
mountains.
for mountains, yeah.
Yeah, and you could just go nuts.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, back in the day where you didn't know the actual rules, so you kind of made up your own rules how to play.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into
Whenever
that.
you tapped,
We'll get into that.
yeah.
So, question number 4: did you
hmm
play standard, or for those veterans of the game would know this as the format of Type 2, or
No,
casual in the early years?
I played super casual, obviously.
Super casual. That even more casual than casual.
Super casual.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I feel like maybe back like when maybe when we first got into it. I know that, and I'll talk about it later too. Like when I first got into it, I didn't even think about playing like super competitively. So
no.
this is whatever I happen to have. So, question number 5: in the early years, what cards did you not want to see on the other side of the field?
Big, beefy monsters. I hated seeing
So
it
like green.
because I didn't know how to deal with it. Right. Because I'm sitting here playing my little mono red deck because, red.
Yeah.
And how do I deal with it? I didn't have access to a bunch of
Yeah, I guess
cards.
you weren't like branching. You weren't branching off into black or anything.
Nope.
There was no, I mean, there was no like Spine of Ishsaw for artifacts because that wasn't until
Nope.
the next Mirrodin block. So
Yeah. Right.
yeah. Um, let's see.
But yeah.
Question.
Just big, big, beefy creatures.
So the mono green deck was not your friend.
Yep. Nope.
So question number 6: did you ever make up house rules with your play group, single player
Yeah.
or multiplayer?
I think one of my favorite memories of a house rule, and I see this frequently on Reddit, people talking about like how they played back in the day and what kind of house rules they had.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember playing with our old friend Joe when I first moved up here, and when we had a land that didn't have like just the land symbol, and it would say like tap to add red to your mana pool,
Uh-huh.
what we would do is go and fetch up red land from our deck,
Hey man,
and
if only
that's how we played.
if only that's actually how that worked.
Right? But we didn't know any better.
Did you play a ton of multiplayer at all, or just more like one-on-one
No,
type things?
mostly just like 1v1.
Gotcha. I guess this also kind of goes into question number 7. Did your playgroup have any misconceptions about the rules of the
Yes.
game? So aside
A
from
lot of
your
them.
tapping a mountain to fetch a mountain, anything else that you ran into that
If
wasn't?
it said you have to add red to your mana pool, how are you supposed to interpret that?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Anything else?
no, I don't think anything crazy like that.
Okay.
Because we pretty much knew the basics, and yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to question 8.
Ugh.
Any Magic the Gathering horror stories, bad trades, mishaps with cards, etc.?
think the worst is a story I've told before on the channel, and I know we've all told horror stories before, but this is back when I had originally gotten into Magic. It was the neighbor I had lived next to. He had taken me to a hotel because his mom was working there, and we got to stay in a room for free, and we went and played in the pool and all that.
Sure.
Mostly just a day out to have some fun in a
Yeah.
hotel.
Vacation to the hotel pool.
Right, exactly.
On a hot
Nothing
summer
wrong
day.
with that. So, without thinking about it, long story short, I jumped into the pool with a deck of cards in my pocket.
I just imagine you doing that like now, today.
Yeah.
The Brandon that I know doing that.
Nope.
I'm just seeing it in my head. It's quite funny. So any
I hope
crazy
to never do anything like that again.
any crazy casualties from that?
I don't remember any.
No.
I mean, I still have my Shivan Dragon, which is probably my most like loved card that I still have. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Shivan Dragon, yeah, that's the dragon, the mono red
Yep.
dragon. So now we're going to get into some questions here that are more kind of about the cards themselves and interactions and things like that. So question 9, what is your favorite mono color?
Red.
Red. Okay, I figured that
Yeah.
that would be it. You want to expand on that? Like what makes red your go-to?
Just because it's so. I mean, I want to say when I started off, it was so varied in what it could do.
Uh-huh.
Like you're dealing damage, you got a bunch of small creatures out, and you're hitting fast and hard, and you're trying to take your opponent out as fast as you can.
Yeah. I mean,
But it can also draw some cards every now and then.
yeah,
And then
weird.
do some wacky stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, even nowadays we see the breakout red deck that happens every once in a while.
like
So,
Ramonabra.
yeah, so it always comes back. So,
Yep.
favorite color, red. Question 10.
Yeah.
What is your favorite color pair? As in 2.
So I never realized that blue would be my favorite secondary color.
Yeah.
Because, red blue is pretty good. But once I discovered, the power of red blue, man,
I can counter
This is
spells
great.
and draw cards and burn
right?
and have
I can
creatures
do
with
all of the
flying.
things.
Creatures with
Yeah.
flying that don't cost like 6 mana.
But just when I first got back into Magic and started playing Commander, and picking Niv Mizzet as my commander is just really like an eye opener, I guess. It was like, man,
What made you pick Niv Mizzet?
he's just this neat dragon dude.
So he was a dragon. So I think there's some. You were thinking dragon, Shivan dragon. Niv
Right.
Mizzet's a dragon,
Right, exactly.
and you just felt
He's
like
red.
branching out a little bit.
And he only cost 2 blue to pay, no big deal.
All right.
But he had this neat flavor text that you turn him on to the side, spells its name. I thought that was pretty funny. It kind of fits my sense of humor.
Sure. I mean that's one of the things, like part of the charm of the game. Is that when you sound like this question that I've just asked you, or that you've this little anecdote that you've told about, just this weird quirky little thing about the card that really drew you to it, that was one of the determining factors that was the reason that you used it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, what's a good example? I play the Tromokratis deck that's just a bunch of stupid ocean
yeah.
stuff. Like I had this idea of I just want cards that are like fish and ocean based, and there's this big dumb Leviathan guy. I don't know. So question 11. What is your favorite tricolor pairing?
Jeskai.
Jeskai. Okay, so we went red, then red blue, then red blue
blue,
white.
and then-
So is there any
Yep.
particular reason why we're not seeing red blue green or red blue black?
It's just because I mean,
What does white do? What does white do to support
It adds-
blue and white or in red? Sorry.
exactly what you just said. It adds support.
Okay. Like what?
It
Like
adds removal, like direct removal.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to deal with damage.
yeah.
It adds cheap combat tricks. It adds, life gain if you need it.
Board wipes that just kill things instead of
too.
dealing a bunch of damage or returning a bunch of permanents or something like that.
Because it's hard to kill something with indestructible when you're dealing direct damage.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whereas when you can exile things with white, it just makes it much easier to deal with a few things.
Yeah. So, question 12. What is your favorite tribe?
Viashino.
Yoshino. Wow, I was not expecting that. I was kind of
No?
expecting a more of a mainstream answer, but no, you went straight for the creature type that's we're probably never going to see any support for.
God, I hope. I really hope going back to Dominaria we see some more.
I
But
hope
like
going back to
honestly,
Dominaria we start seeing squirrels and stuff again.
right.
Anyway, sorry.
But it is kind of a tie between uh, those and Kavu.
Yeah, Kavu's a great creature type. Ah, man,
Yep.
we talked about this before. Just wanting that to come back. Maybe for future
Yeah.
episodes, we should split this into two questions: favorite mainstream tribe
Mm,
and favorite weird tribe.
yeah. But yeah, I think I've always been a fan of lizard
The
folk
lizard
as
people.
just yeah.
So,
Like if when I play D&D, I want to play a lizard man dude.
so,
I don't know what he is. I just want to be a lizard dude and beat the shit out of people and eat them.
so in this case, this
And
this also kind of goes more along the lines of flavor as opposed to functionality. Well, I mean,
mhm.
I suppose Nib Visit's an amazing like creature to use as your commander anyway, but uh, talking about the flavor text type thing. So the Viashino, just because of what they are inherently, not necessarily
Yeah.
having anything to do with what they can actually do to affect the
No.
game.
Yep. Just because the way that they're portrayed in the artwork.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, they're creature types.
Yeah. So, question number 13. What is your favorite block?
So it's going to be, the generic answer, but my favorite block is Mirrodin. Original
Original Mirrodin.
Mirrodin.
Okay. And do you think that's just strictly because
Because
it's when
that's
you
when I
started playing?
started.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, Return to Mirrodin, I didn't play during. That's when I wasn't playing at all.
Scars of
I
Mirrodin.
came back a couple sets later during Return to Ravnica.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's funny.
And
I totally missed out on original Ravnica block.
yeah, I did
But
too.
yeah.
I
So
played pretty much through Mirrodin, and I first time ever seeing some Kamigawa cards was seeing the brothers. What is it called?
Yamato or whatever.
The two
It
that
was
are
the
the
same
legendary
card,
guides, and
but
yeah,
different art. Yeah.
yeah,
The brothers.
Yamazaki.
Yeah,
I think
there
is
you
the
go.
name. Um,
All right.
and then kind of just fell out
Yeah.
of keeping up with Magic.
Yeah. It happens every now and then. You just kind of
Yeah.
get burnt out. So, question 14 is meant to kind of make you think about your answer for question 13, and that being, what is your favorite set? It's just one set, one standalone
Now,
set.
my art probably my favorite set by itself is Cons of Tarkir,
Cons of Tarkir. Interesting.
because it was full of so much new stuff, and it didn't have dragons in it, but it was implied, in a past there was dragons.
Yeah, and that was also kind of the return of Wedge,
Right.
which is pretty cool because we hadn't really seen a ton of Wedge stuff since Shards of Alara, I don't think, right?
That was no. I mean, you're thinking of shards with Shards of Alara,
Yeah.
but we'd never actually seen shards or wedges in forever. We'd barely had any cards since the future shifted dragons or time shifted dragons, whatever.
Yeah, that was probably the before that. But I mean, like, Shards of Alara is what really introduced the idea of, like, like
Right.
Bant Grixis, like all that stuff. And Cons of Tarkir gave us
Took it another
the
step
other
further.
the other Wedge colors.
Right.
So yeah, that's
Um,
a good answer. Cons of Tarkir was a really cool set. I remember
was.
really being excited for. I think I was probably most excited about that set in that block. Because I think as
Rather than the other two.
it went on, Fate Reforged and then Dragons of Tarkir, each one of them I felt like had their strong
Like the
points.
hype went down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of natural. Like, because
Yeah.
think of it this way. I mean, remember we're like Shadows over Innistrad and then Eldritch Moon, like the difference between
Yeah.
those, and then even like I'd say like even like Kaladesh and Aether Revolt, like same thing. Especially
This is kinda what
Amonkhet and
makes
Hour of
me-
Devastation.
Yeah.
I didn't care
it's
about Hour
kinda
of
what makes
Devastation
me
at all.
happy to be moving to a not block structure
Uh-huh.
and to just be moving to a single set structure.
So we'll just be stoked all the time.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, because that's actually a really good point, because I feel like what ends up happening to us is that we're super excited out of the gate to see all these new things, and then it's left up to the next sets in the block to keep up the flavor but
Right.
add more and have it be just as good.
Like I think Theros was a prime example because the initial block for Theros was great. It
Uh-huh.
was filled with so much flavor.
Yeah.
And then moving on, it just was like Born of the Gods was kind of lame.
And then Journey and Snakes was really lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good talk, good talk.
Hmm.
Question number 15. What is your favorite mechanic, being flying, trample, haze, shroud, etc.?
Can I say draw cards? I'm
Draw
kidding.
cards? I mean,
No, I honestly think my favorite mechanic, and this, I mean, it's gonna be prowess because it just fits
prowess
my
is fun.
playstyle.
Yeah, prowess is fun.
And I mean, it's become a meme between us to say prowess trigger
Oh, yeah,
every
definitely.
time there's a creature with something that has prowess out. Gotta make sure you hit that prowess trigger.
Yeah,
But
it's an interesting um like turn on the idea of, like, for example, in like We Dragonauts, the idea that you
yeah,
get some sort of bonus for casting spells. Except now
yeah,
they actually kind of gave it a name and fleshed out exactly how it worked.
yeah, which is pretty neat.
So the next question, we're these are moving like away from some game, like really specific stuff, and more
Hmm.
into some more stuff that you can just kind of go to town on and use your imagination. Uh,
Yeah.
If you were a planeswalker, Brandon, what
Hmm.
color or colors would you be? And when I wrote this question, how I imagined in my mind how people would formulate answers, just think about yourself as a person, and
Right.
think about what color or colors that you kind of relate to just by the nature of the colors.
I would probably be red white,
Red, white, huh?
but that's just because I kind of take a leadership role
Okay. That would be the
when
white aspect of it, right?
right.
Okay.
But then I'm very disobedient.
Are you? Interesting.
You've not seen me at work lately.
I guess not.
Um, I mean, I lead people. I am a, leader. I am just under a manager, but I've led guilds and MMOs before.
Okay.
I've
Okay, yeah,
led
that's fair.
plenty of things like that. I've, you know, I just feel like if I took those two pairs would probably describe me the best.
Okay, so Brandon, the red white planeswalker.
Yep.
Question number 17. What plane do you want to see Magic the Gathering revisit that's not already on the docket as far as we know?
The only plane that we know we're going back to right now is Dominaria, which is scary
Okay.
because that's as far as we
Yeah,
know. And
what
that's
does it all
coming
mean?
out in like April something, I think,
Okay.
because we're finishing off Ixalan here next month.
Yeah. So where do you want to go back to? Where do you want to revisit?
So I already know I want to go back to Mirrodin, original Mirrodin, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be battle for New Phyrexia, Shadows over Kaladesh, Revolt.
Return.
Yeah.
Um, and they'd have to retcon some crazy shit to go back to original Tarkir. So we know that's not going to happen.
Right. I feel like going back to Tarkir is a bad idea. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
really, really good self-contained set that the story arc like kind of wrapped up, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I felt like that was
So
really
if I
good.
had to choose, I would probably go with Theros
Huh.
just because I want to see what they could do on a second run when
So,
they're
what do you think?
just confined. They could just make it one block or they can make it two. Because that's what they've said going forward, that if they feel like they can make a second set
Mhm.
and keep it as good as the first one, they'll make a second one.
So, what would they do on Theros? Like, just brainstorm an idea here, real quick. Like, if knowing what happened on
So this
Theros,
time
what could
around,
happen now?
it's a war of the gods.
Huh.
The gods are fighting each other for, I don't want to say dominance over the populace, but, to make sure they're the most powerful. Or all of a sudden, I can't, Xenagos is dead, right?
I believe so.
Elspeth killed him at the very end.
Yeah, we know that by the
And,
card Deicide, I believe.
yes. And then Heliod killed Elspeth. But
But I want to see if we go back to Theros. I want to see
Hmm.
Black White Elspeth. I want that to be like what
Yes.
happens to her.
I want to see her before we go back, is the thing.
Oh
We
yeah,
see her before, and then we go back to Theros.
huh? I imagine her like wearing one of those masks,
Yeah.
and that's like what, and like with like a black cape or something,
Yeah.
and that's what makes her like. I don't know what her motive would be or what she would be after, but
Vengeance,
vengeance. How about a slice of
obviously.
vengeance?
But yeah, I think it'd be a neat way to go. It's either that or, some new person is trying to ascend to godhood like Xenagos did
Yeah,
and
I'd kind of rather
throws
not
the
see something
pantheon
like that.
into turmoil. And
Oh
you
no.
asked me to think of the first thing they could think of, and
Oh yeah, I
that's
know.
the first thing I
Yeah,
could think of.
sure.
So there you go.
All right. Question
Be mad.
18, going back into some more real world type stuff. How did you get into Commander?
I can thank Travis for this because I moved up here 6-ish years ago, and I brought a few Magic cards with me, like
Should,
my favorites, and I brought some Yu-Gi-Oh cards up here too,
oh
like
yeah.
one of my favorites, and you know everybody that I ended up moving into the apartment with played Magic
Uh-huh.
and would regularly have very large games of Commander. And I was very interested in that because that sounded so much fun.
I do miss
And
playing huge, like 5, 6 player Commander games there.
Commander games, yeah.
That was
And
fun.
like seeing pictures of these crazy board states and 5 people sitting down to play some Magic, that sounded like some of the funnest thing you could do
Right, because
to
you
me that
said
day.
that you didn't really get into a ton of like super multiplayer.
No,
So this is kind of your first experience. What do you remember like what deck you played with? Did you have a pre-con deck before you had Niv Mizzet or anything? I can't remember.
no, nope. I played around with your Exalted deck with
Oh,
Root Peak when I
right.
started.
Yeah. Bant good stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, question 19. What was your first commander deck? That would be Niv Mizzet then.
Yeah, my
Interesting.
first actual deck, which when I was brainstorming my first deck, it was a draw between uh Niv Mizzet and Kresh Bloodbraid Elf dude.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because I like the idea of doing the whole crazy, huge creature with +X+X, but
Uh-huh.
then a bunch of points were made against it because how are you supposed to, really do anything great without like trample and,
Yeah, I
you
mean, and there's
know,
ways to do it, but I feel like
obviously,
Niv
but
Mizzet was the good choice here.
yeah. So yeah.
So, question number 20. Do you have any commander pet peeves?
Not really.
No?
Not specifically commander pet peeves,
Okay.
but eventually flicking your cards enough will get me pretty triggered.
Okay, how about just pet peeves for the game in general? It doesn't have to be specific to commander.
Flicking your cards.
Really? Man, I can't get enough of that. I just do it.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, I'm calling you out here, Travis.
Yep. In
Kidding.
the year 20 in the
Um,
year 2017. All right.
but
So,
no, like, there's nothing that really like gets me triggered or anything. Just I'm slightly annoyed by the fact that people just sit there and flick cards enough. It just sit there do it all the time and shuffle your hands up constantly.
oh, I
And
definitely do that. I am guilty.
I know you
I'm
do.
so guilty. I just have to be
Never
doing
watched
something with my hands all the time.
right.
It's just how that works, man.
I just put my hand down and I'm done with
Gonna
it.
handcuff me to the table so I can't
Yeah,
do
right.
anything. So, question number 21. Any commander clutch moments?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but I have a pretty clutch memory of a Tiny Leaders game we played a long time ago.
Okay. Tell me.
It was when we were doing. I was playing, I think Prowess. I'm pretty sure it was Prowess Triggers with Shuyun. I can't remember what you or Colin were playing,
Uh-huh. Oh, this is
but
three
I
player.
just yeah, I
Oh.
remember attacking with my Nyx Fleece Ram
Nick's
to
fleece
anybody
ram.
because it had 0 power and whatever toughness. So
Oh, God.
why would it get blocked? Obviously,
Okay.
but that triggered raid, which allowed me to go
Oh.
crazy off of Hell of the Horde or whatever it is that lets me copy a spell. and win the game because nobody's seen that coming.
Yep. When someone attacks you with a sheep, you
It's a
really don't
sign.
expect anything to come of it.
Yeah.
All right.
It
So,
just that memory really sticks because it was like just this crazy moment. How did I win off of attacking with a sheep?
question number 22. How do you feel about the Commander supplemental product?
I I like the Commander supplemental product personally
Mm-hmm.
because it buying it gives me a bunch of staples, and I like to just take everything apart and throw something together. Because I don't have a huge collection.
Yeah.
I've not, I just buy cards when I need cards. I don't. I might go out of my way and buy 4 6 packs of unstable, when I feel like it.
Gotta get those lands.
Yeah, right. Those foil tokens, though. But yeah, I don't have a big collection, so buying the Commander supplemental product helps helps me build a collection. Helps get me some staples too.
Yeah, sure. Staples are
Like
always good to have.
after this last round, I think I've got enough soul rings and enough command towers,
Oh,
and
you and me both.
yeah. But it's nice to know that you have those and you don't need to. Oh crap! I'm out.
Yeah,
I need to
definitely.
go get a command tower. So yeah,
All right. So, question number 23. What do you want to see out of future Magic the Gathering expansions as far as Commander goes? Not necessarily out of the Commander supplemental product, but
right.
just as far as things that are fun, neat, powerful when you think
I'd like to
about
see
Commander.
kind of like a Kamigawa done right.
Huh.
Have legendary creatures mean something in a set,
What do you mean?
and
Like
not
there just be
just
a bunch of them? Because like
yeah, but
Kamigawa
not
had a ton.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But have it to where they actually impact something. There's a mechanic that revolves around having,
Legendary creatures? Oh,
legendaries.
that would be cool. I
So
never thought about that.
that would be neat.
All right.
You know, more legendary lands and
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Okay. So, question number 24. Why do
hmm
you like playing Commander? Either just why do you like playing Commander or Commander versus 60 card? Your choice.
I like Commander because every game you sit down to play is going to be different for me.
Okay.
I don't build hyper competitive, I need to be able to draw this turn 2 and win the game kind of decks.
Yeah, I get you.
I want to have a different experience every time I sit down, and playing with 99 different cards helps that
Yeah,
experience.
statistically, you'll probably have a different game than you had last time.
Yeah,
All right.
except for when you draw Fleece Main Land every single game.
Yeah, what's that like?
It's crazy, let me tell you.
All right. We're getting near the very end here. Question number 25. What does Magic the Gathering mean to you? What has it done for you? How has it affected you?
I think overall, Magic means a bit to me. It's not like doesn't mean like a lot to me because I don't live my life off of the game.
Uh huh.
I'm not out there winning pro tours or doing anything like that. But it's allowed me to have a hobby that I can just pull out whenever I want to and just play a game. You know, like if I was carrying, a bag around with me and had a couple decks in it and met somebody new, it's like, hey, do you play Magic? Yeah, I play Magic. You want to play a game? Yeah, sure. Slam my deck down on the table and we play.
Reminds me of in Yu-Gi-Oh how he always has his deck like in
Yeah,
his little
right.
belt thing.
hmm
I feel
Yep.
like that's what you do.
Yep.
You just
That's
walk around
exactly
like
what I do. hmm Except not actually. But it's fun. It's something I enjoy doing. It's easy to just put aside and take a break from it. I don't get too over invested in it, so I don't tend to burn myself on it that often anymore. So, yeah.
There you go. Let the record show Brandon likes Magic because it's quote fun.
Yes.
So, question number 26 is the very last question, and it's a question that we are both going to answer because there's a little bit of dialogue to be had here.
hmm
Question number 26: what made you want to start a YouTube channel? And then I suppose specifically this which originally was just a magic YouTube channel. We had no idea. It was in the works for quite a while before we actually decided on a name and really tried to get things going. So what made you want to do it?
It was just an idea we had been throwing around, right, for the longest time.
Uh-huh. It was always like a haha, that'd be funny
right,
if we did that.
But and then I think I don't remember which one of us started taking it more seriously, but and then I thought of the name, Commanding Magic. I think first I had thought of Magic Commander.
Magic Commander.
Like that.
Sounds like
Just think where we would be.
Sounds like an NES game.
Right. Just think where we would be now if that's what we stuck with.
Magic Commander.
Tune in next week.
Yeah.
But I'd always wanted to try the whole YouTube thing for a while.
Yeah. So it wasn't always going to be a Magic the Gathering channel for you.
No.
It could have been anything.
Yeah. Legitimately could have been anything. I just wanted to, see what it was like, see what I could do,
And streaming was weird.
Yeah. But that's how we had to do it back then, remember?
Yeah.
We had no other real options. It was a strange thing almost 3 years ago.
Right. That's super weird to think about.
Yeah, that's been 3 years.
Yeah, I think I'm mostly grateful just because it's kind of like kept us all together, like me and you and Colin. It's kind of just because I haven't lived in Lafayette since the end of
Forever.
2012 pretty much. I moved in the very beginning of 2013, so
yeah,
just one way and another. And it was pretty not radio silent, but we just didn't talk a lot when I lived in Illinois. It was after I moved to Kentucky that I can't remember how did we get back in contact and start talking about it. We must have been talking about something else and it just kind of came up, right? Or I don't know.
I think you made the Facebook group first.
Oh, did I?
And then that we just talked about Magic on there.
Huh. Oh yeah, I think we used to post spoilers and stuff there all the time.
Used to, and just talked about it between us, and then we're like, hey, we could do this and talk to other people about it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what about you, Travis? What made you want to start a YouTube channel?
It was so even when I lived in Lafayette, the first time I wanted to start a Magic the Gathering YouTube channel. And back then I just played 60 cards, so it would have been going over whatever 60 card deck I was playing or whatever, and spoilers and things like that. And I actually had a logo and everything. I don't have it anymore, but my channel,
really?
My channel was going to be called Untap, and it was
it
was the Untap symbol, kind of like our Commanding Magic logo right now on our layout, where it was the Untap symbol and then the 5 colors going underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's neat.
That's what it was going to be called. I'm pretty sure I even made the channel. I don't know. Maybe I made it. Maybe I didn't or something. I never put any.
Just thinking about the untapped symbol is weird.
Yeah, I know, right? It was around for such a short period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never did it ever. It was always something that I wanted to do. And then, it just kind of took a little bit more than just me to actually get it started. So yeah, it's cool. I'm really stoked to be able to do it. It just kept us talking, so I'll take it.
Even if we've had some pretty big gaps throughout the few years, we've made an effort to get back into it every time.
Yeah,
and I think this last time we've made kind of a strong effort to get back into it.
Yeah, season 2 is way better than season 1.
Which is why you probably will never see anything from season 1.
Which is super unfortunate. I want season 1 remastered or something.
Yeah, but
there's no way to do that.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
Unless we just went and re-downloaded what we could off of YouTube and just mashed stuff together.
Oh yeah,
we could probably do
maybe highlights or something, gameplay highlights.
Yeah. Because that gameplay highlight I was talking about earlier is on, but you can't go watch it right now.
Oh right.
So
yeah, and that's our interview. It's we're not looking to spend 2 hours sitting around chatting. These are meant to be more of the show for the person that likes to listen to stories but doesn't have all day. I guess listen to it while you're on your way to work. I don't know. It's whatever. Do what you want. But
Do what you want.
yeah, the next episode is going to be a role reversal, and Brandon will be interviewing me.
Yeah.
And then after that, ideally, we'll get Colin, and then we'll just expand out from there. If,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just see who we can get.
Yep.
Maybe we can get a Mark Rosewater on here to talk about this
Right. Oh God. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Hedron Archive. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. You can follow us on any of our Commanding Magic links. This will be posted under the same channel. It is just a different show, a new take, trying something different. Let us know how you feel. I mean, we welcome like any constructive criticism, anything you want. I plan to make this in post like more of a thing that you can actually watch. There's like, like cards coming up on the screen, just stuff like that. Because it's something that's a little bit harder to keep up with while you're doing it live, but I'm just going to go in and post and, make sure I'm putting stuff up that's relevant to whatever anybody's talking about, things like that. So, yeah. Again, thanks a ton. This is Travis and Brandon from Commanding Magic, and we'll catch you later.